Hello and welcome. Today we'll talk about workforce planning in recruitment. Workforce planning means determining your needs and strategizing to fulfill those needs. It means developing strategy to filling various positions in the organization. Workforce planning is linked to strategic goals in the organization where it requires forecasting or determining estimates regarding what specific positions need to be filled and how to fill them. In workforce planning, you develop, implement, and evaluate recruitment process, keeping the numbers. When did we start recruitment? How are we recruiting people? And how many people actually are we hiring from our efforts? When it comes to understanding the labor landscape, there are certain steps in the planning process, which is important for long-term recruitment success. So you forecast, you set recruitment goals, you develop recruitment process, you implement the recruitment process, and most importantly, you evaluate the recruitment process to see your successes and to make improvements from things that did not go well. Succession planning and leadership development are important for every growing organization. Succession planning is active forecasting of leadership needs and the strategies for filling them over time. Leadership development usually describes both formal and informal opportunities for employees to expand their knowledge, their skills, their abilities, and other characteristics that are needed to successfully perform their jobs and duties. Replacement planning is minimal plan of individuals to take over top leadership positions over time. So as part of the succession planning and development, you can basically have formal and informal plans, both for short-term and long-term replacements of highly critical individuals or positions. Succession management means identifying and developing successors at all levels of the organization. So generally in HR, you've heard of this as succession planning and development at all levels, especially at senior levels, where we often require lower ranked individuals to shadow senior level people. This way, when they are leaving or retiring, the transition is somewhat smooth. You have to understand the labor market conditions, and that means you need to understand the numbers of jobs available compared to available individuals with the required knowledge, skills, abilities, and other characteristics. You can get this report sometimes from the Bureau of Labor Statistics or the U.S. Department of Labor. These are good sources for us to always keep an eye on. In the labor market conditions, sometimes you can have shortages. The workforce labor shortages refers to labor market conditions where there are more jobs than workers. In other words, labor demand is greater than labor supply in any specific city, market, or industry. So the tight labor market, unfortunately, means it's a good market for employees, but not so good for employers. You're likely to have a decreased unemployment rate in the tight labor market. In salary offers or sign-up bonuses are the norm, where every company is competing to recruit and retain the best employees in the industry. On the other hand, workforce labor surpluses, otherwise known as slack, is labor market conditions where there is more available labor than organizations can use. So the labor demand is smaller than the labor supply. In this case, you have high unemployment and difficulty finding a job. So it's a good market for employers, but not so good for getting employment or getting a new job. Recruitment is identifying and attracting individuals for various roles in your organization. That's the process. So why does recruitment matter? Well, it matters because of innovation, because of firm performance, and because of maintaining a good organizational culture. Recruitment starts the employee life cycle in the organization, coming in and staying in the organization and eventually transitioning into retirement. Recruitment is your source of human capital at any organization. So the recruitment process leads to selection of individuals, to onboarding, to training and development, to performance management, to retention, and eventually transitioning into retirement. So it's a cycle, right? The employee life cycle with any company begins with the recruitment. If a person does not become part of the applicant pool, he or she will never join the organization. So recruitment begins with selection, with onboarding, with training and development, with performance management, with retention, and eventually transition of these individuals into retirement as they exit the corporation. That's why it's important to know how many people will be leaving your organization in a given year. That's why succession planning and development is crucial for essential or very important jobs. So it's important to have a recruitment strategy or a formal process for recruitment. You have to have specific objectives. You have to have strategy development. There are several aspects to strategy development. One would be recruitment needs and then placement. Recruitment need is the results of workforce planning process in terms of what specific knowledge, skills, abilities, and other characteristics are and will be needed at the organization. Placement is determining where talent needs to be placed and where the talent can be found. So recruitment need and placement are critical components of strategy development. Recruitment activities can include what specific methods will be used, what information about the job will be conveyed, and what type of individuals are actually needed in the organization, what personalities would best serve the organization's culture in various teams in the coming years. Think about the Myers-Briggs personality test. Let us talk a little bit about various personalities of individuals you might recruit in the organization. If you have extroverts, they are energized by people. They enjoy a variety of tasks in a good pace, and they're good at multitasking. Introverts, on the other hand, often like working alone or in small groups. They prefer a more deliberate pace, and they like to focus on one task at a time. People who are sensors are more realistic people who like to focus on the facts and details and apply common sense and past experience to come up with practical solutions to problems. On the other hand, intuitives prefer to focus on the possibilities and the big picture, easily see pattern, and they value innovation and they see creative solutions to problems. People who are thinkers tend to make decisions using logical analysis, objectively weigh pros and cons, and value honesty, consistency, and fairness. On the other hand, feelers tend to be sensitive and cooperative and decide based on their own personal values and how others will be affected by their decisions. Judges tend to be organized and prepared, like to make and stick to plans, and are comfortable following most rules. On the other hand, perceivers prefer to keep their options open, like to be able to act spontaneously, and like to be flexible with making plans. Think about who do you have in your department or organization and who you need to have to diversify your team and your leadership in the organization so they can be prepared for the future of your company in industry. There are various combinations of individuals if you're using personality tests, right? You want responsible executors, you want dedicated stewards, you want insightful motivators, you want visionary strategists. Sometimes you need nimble pragmatics. You need practical custodians, you need inspired crusaders, you need expansive analyzers, you need dynamic mavericks, enthusiastic improvisers, impassionate catalysts, innovative explorers. And we need efficient drivers, committed builders, engaging mobilizers, and we need strategic directors. So think about, again, what type of people you currently have and what type of people you need to recruit to have somebody with the right personality that questions decisions, that drives your organization to where it needs to be, as opposed to sitting back and not being engaged at all in the organization. Let us now look at the recruitment funnel concept in stages. The recruitment process funnel narrows the number of candidates that are considered from the time of recruitment through hire. So you're leaving the very best candidates to be hired at your organization. So the process begins by attracting large numbers of candidates. And one of the companies that do a very good job at this is Google, right? They receive several million applications every single year, and they only hire about 5,000 or so in a given year. So that means they have a huge advantage to select the best of the best out of all those hundreds of thousands of individuals that submit an application for them. So attracting candidates becomes important. And then you identify qualified candidates from the main pool of people who want to work for your company. And then you assess those candidates and finally hire the ones that are a good fit for your organization. So you generate applicants, you maintain applicant interest and participation, and you influence job choice. In other words, the candidates that are best fit for your company, you want them to accept the positions, given that they are a good fit for your department or company. So generating applicants is an important job for a company through good branding and good human resource recruitment processes. So where do you recruit employees from? What are recruitment sources? Well, it can be web pages. You can have internal recruiting sources. You can have internal transfers and promotions. You can have job boards internally. You can contact your alumni employees. You can have external recruitment sources, employee referrals, university relationships, internship programs, external job boards, social networking sites, employment agencies, freelance employees, walk-ins, hiring from competitors, right? All of these are different strategies or sources for getting your employees. So what do recruiters report spending money on? Research shows that 60% of them spend money on company career website. 41% spend money on applicant tracking system. Then there's social recruiting, job boards, a mobile career website, mobile applications, and outside agency and recruiters are also being used. Regardless of what sources you use to recruit employees, you should recruit for diversity in your teams and in your organization, so your workforce can be representative of the geographical location's overall population in any location, any city, any state, any country. Remember that there are laws protecting individuals from being discriminated. There are many positives associated with a diverse workforce. You need to ensure stronger diversity within your organization. High-tech industries have had challenges in terms of diversifying their top managers regarding gender. There might be unconscious biases and there might be difficulty in getting people to apply at the beginning. The nursing industry has had challenges, similar situation to firefighters and truck drivers, by getting a diverse pool of candidates. We need racial diversity. Remember the Rooney Rule, right? The 80% or 4/5 rule should be applied to make sure you're not having an adverse impact on any protected group of employees. We need to have age diversity. Remember the graying of the workforce or the silver tsunami in the American workforce is reality. Many people are retiring, and demographics show that our population is getting older, so there's changing demographics and implications for recruitment as well. Research shows that older workers are often performing at a higher level than younger workers, despite the stereotypes and myths that exist out there. You need to be concerned about older workers because of age discrimination in Employment Act. You don't want to be in violation of age discrimination against older workers. You need to recruit veterans, approximately 22 million military veterans in the United States, making up about 9% of the adult population. Unfortunately, there has been challenges of matching military skills, knowledge, abilities, and other characteristics of civilian ones sometimes. So we need to identify individuals who bring the military or those skills that they've gained during their time in service and how they can be applied into the workplace. Hire individuals who are differently able to perform the jobs. This way you can be aligned with Americans with Disabilities Act. So make sure your hiring practices, your numbers match the ADA requirements, and you can hopefully provide reasonable accommodations during recruitment as well as selection processes. Please note that the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, or EEOC, classifies a person as a person with disability when he or she has a physical or mental impairment that substantially limits one or more major life activities. Always evaluate the effectiveness of your recruitment metrics. There are certain principles for strategic workforce measures that we need to keep in mind. Don't start with the measures. Don't rely on benchmarking. Don't expect measurement alone to fix your problems. Focus on the strategic impact of the workforce. Measure both levels in relationships between workforce measures, and always implement an effective tracking system that constantly keeps track of your numbers, and you always review and improve the tracking system. So continuous improvement should be part of every recruitment process. As always, remember to build a reputation for being an objective, analytic, and a rational professional, whether it's in recruitment or other elements of your functions. You can do this by analyzing the numbers, by analyzing the data, and by analyzing all of the facts surrounding any situation so you can make evidence-based decisions. Good luck.